This is a wonderful, worldwide vision, influenced by content.
Go deep into it, you feel me? So it look good on paper, but there don't be nobody.
I gotta stand out, and not for obvious reasons. Gotta stand out. You gotta like have a voice and really stand on something that, you know what I mean? Like just.
Everything shared, presented, viewed, and said is not to suggest that any person, place, or thing do or be anything. The agenda is to focus on evolving the creative and lawful understandings, with a world of people, places and things, in the multi-layered business of content creation.
That's why I was telling everybody, like, you shouldn't play around like that. I'm serious about what I'm doing. What if I said this?
First, let me say thank you for being here to our guests.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And welcome to all of our listeners.
Absolutely.
So, I want to jump right into it.
Please do.
Because I hope you're ready.
I'm definitely ready. Yes.
You sure?
Yes, I'm ready today. I've been looking forward to this.
You said it, not me. You said you were ready. So I've read something about influenced by content, and I want to share it with you. I've read that influenced by content aims to provide a forward-thinking projection, ideally based on what Mesopotamia is known for. So here is what I need you to do for us today. I need you to break down this word soup.
Okay.
I need you to break it up into itty-bitty bite-sized, digestible pieces.
I think I can do that.
So let's begin with discussing what Mesopotamia is and what does that have to do with influenced by content.
Okay, so let me start somewhere to get somewhere.
Okay.
Mesopotamia has many layers for what it's known for and known as, actually. Some of the names given to Mesopotamia are the Fertile Crescent, the Cradle of Civilization, and the land between the rivers.
Look, I have my thinking cap on.
Okay, that's good.
I hope y'all out there have your thinking caps
I hope
on.
they do too. Let me just say something real quick.
Sure.
I don't want anybody to misunderstand what I'm expressing today.
Okay.
I don't want to come across as if I'm an authority on the history of Mesopotamia or a pundit as it applies to things connected to Mesopotamia.
Understood.
But a basic study, a Google search, a Safari look will show you that there is much to be learned when studying Mesopotamia.
Okay.
Also when researching the people, places, and things connected to Mesopotamia.
So the first thing you're telling me is that we're in for a treat and a lesson.
No, I'm just answering questions.
We're buckled in. We're ready to go.
You're funny.
So, okay, let's pick it apart and break it down. Let's start with the names that you gave for Mesopotamia.
Okay.
What does the names that you gave for Mesopotamia have to do with influenced by content?
So, the creators of Influenced by Content, I think, value what was done in Mesopotamia in a space of forward thinking and innovation that led to a lot of what we have today. And they envisioned Influenced by Content as the birthplace and origin of ingenious collaborative thinking that's fashioned and formatted to be successful in a today's world and tomorrow's existence.
So now we know that influenced by content is a multifaceted concept. Next, we need to know what the key connection is.
The key connection is, as I stated before, birthing a new way to do things in a today's world and tomorrow's existence. So, for example, like there's a narrative out there about Mesopotamia where people come together with varying abilities and they invent and they build and they create several things that are commonly known today. They're credited for developing vital aspects of what we know as our existence, such as written language, religion, agriculture, political systems, administrative systems, the wheel, a code of laws, the sale, civil rights, irrigation of crops, commerce, mathematics, astronomy, and arts, which are still today, according to the narrative that's scripted, considered some of the best in the world.
Wow.
So I think that influenced by content and today's world kind of thinking made this so that it would be a collaborative space for worldwide citizens, service providers, creators, intellectuals, businesses, leaders, followers, entrepreneurs, the affluent, governing bodies, occupational professionals, entertainers, and ancillary support systems to work interconnected to build universal categorical content that will be profitable and beneficial online and in person.
Oh, that makes sense.
Does it really?
That makes a lot of sense.
I'm glad that makes sense to you.
So now we have the key connection. And so in birthing that new way of doing things in today's world and tomorrow's existence,
Right.
I have to ask, what's the agenda?
The agenda is to be able to do whatever it takes to be successful in all things business and personal, online and in person, equally.
Equally.
Right, equally. No matter the conditions or status of our world.
All right.
So the initial agenda when shaping and forming Influenced by Content was and is to create an idea that's a unique blend of innovative and traditional methodologies.
Okay.
The methodologies are for the betterment and advancement of all people, places, and things.
All right.
So as much as things are profitable and for gains, they're also for the betterment, health, and well-being of all people, places, and things.
Okay. I don't think there's anything out there marketed, created, put in place that does what Influenced by Content is designed to do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
So,
Can I say this before we move on, please?
Sure.
Thank you. One of the cool facets I think about Influenced by Content is that it's fundamentally tailored to be the key to business and personal social growth, civil success, and orderly behaviors online and in person.
So let me tell you what I heard you tell me.
Okay, please do.
A heightened sense of online usage and healthy social behaviors for the betterment, health, and success of all people, places, and things would raise the value of all things experienced online and in person.
I think we're saying the same thing, just two different ways.
Okay, but it will bring about world advancement,
Right, continually.
betterment in all things business and personal, online and in person. So tell me if I heard you.
Yeah. That's another way of saying it. As I said before, to get somewhere, you have to start somewhere. So we have to focus on what happened yesterday and today so we can know what to do next.
Oh, that's fire. I like what you did there. Past, present, and future.
Absolutely.
So, we're listening.
I think Influenced by Content has connectivity with the Mesopotamia based on how Influenced by Content is a common ground for all who are qualified, skilled, trained, novice, and desiring to join a progressive united us.
Look at you setting up segues.
Teamwork, dreamwork.
Thank you. Because that leads us right into my next question. What does a united us have to do with Influenced by Content? And you'll be able to give us your answer on the other side of this commercial
I
break.
appreciate y'all for listening.
Now watch
this. So, hey, like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna only drop more content. I promise you.
The concept is far-reaching.
Yeah.
It promotes a freedom of speech that's palatable. A way of free speaking is not overdone. Free speaking that points to creative thoughts and new ideas and sharing those ideas. And in the sharing of those ideas, there's a world of direction.
Yeah.
This kind of phrase and this thought that helps you to know what's next. And what if I said this?
Welcome back.
Is this on? Okay.
So I
okay,
want to
thank
jump
you.
right into it.
Okay.
What does a united us do?
The united us is congregated to build, create, and do the work that forms the unbreakable bridge between sellers of products and items, providers of services, and consumers online and in person.
Okay.
Let me give you a little backstory to help you understand.
All right.
At its inception to this moment and beyond, Influenced by Content was and is designed to be capable of producing limitless strategies and solutions. All right.
All right.
Many people do business with things, but they don't realize the detailed layers and facets of the business they're doing business with.
I agree.
That being said, Influenced by Content with internal working systems like Kaleidoscope that is filled with those who are educated, trained, empirically knowledgeable, and novice that offer services, solutions, and strategies for varying viewer types and consumer types. Kaleidoscope makes Influenced by Content a viable connector or conduit between consumers, businesses, entrepreneurs, sellers of products and items, and service providers.
Right.
I think an added feature of Kaleidoscope is that it gives Influenced by Content the capability to facilitate healthy, profitable connectivity and relations for all things public and private sector.
Hold tight. So not only is Influenced by Content bridging the gap, it's also standing in the gap.
Yes, that's correct.
Man, tell me more.
I may be a tad biased in saying this next thing, so I think everybody would benefit from reaching out to Kaleidoscope, whether it's business, finances, lifestyle, whatever you are trying to figure out in your life. They have very affordable consultations where they give assessments and comprehensive action plans. They even help with prep systems if you need help preparing for whatever it is that you want. So there's several advantages to what Influenced by Content offers, and Kaleidoscope is for consumers and world citizens, and it helps connect them to the services and solutions they're looking for.
As you were talking, I was doing some quick research, just a little internet search about Mesopotamia. If you look at some of the narratives connected with Mesopotamia, you'll find that taking accountability and responsibility for what is going on and for how it works was the desire of those in Mesopotamia.
Yeah, right.
And so let me tell you why I think that's amazing. You have to be clear about your goals, right? And so it is extremely hard to hit a target and or just aim at a target when that target was never established from the beginning, right? So when it comes to people, it's good for people to know the purpose of a thing and the layers of possibilities of a thing. So when that thing happens, people then get to honestly say, oh, you know what? They said that would happen like that.
Yeah.
Or they said that's how that would go. And that's important for people, right?
Right. I'm glad you said all of those things that way about aim and everything, because Influenced by Content aims to be a wonderful worldwide vision, diversely fashioned to create content experiences that are universally good for business, online and in person, for the betterment and advancement of all things business and personal.
You know, I really appreciate the concept of Influenced by Content and the fact that it is for a world of people, places, and things, and that it is mutually beneficial and harmonious and lawful.
Hold on, can I say something before it slips my mind?
Sure.
One more thing I'd like to say before we move on into our next points of discussion.
Okay.
One of the many facets of Influenced by Content that's complementary to the success of all things online and in person has to deal with public expression of business owners and entrepreneurs, service providers, and sellers of products and items to consumers in a world of citizens. And the thing that we utilize internally, made by Influenced by Content, is something called Platform Slim. Platform Slim is how we disseminate, facilitate, and publicize in communities, in person, hand to hand, word of mouth. Platform Slim will be in your communities. Platform Slim will be marketing door to door to help the businesses connect with the community and the people in community to connect with service providers, sellers of products and items, and entrepreneurs, and many other things. So if you're trying to figure out a healthy way to get yourself out there and be more appealing, there are marketing strategies that are available that you should use, and Platform Slim has come up with several strategies and solutions to make that success happen for you.
Okay, give me a second. So not only do you guys have Kaleidoscope Consultants, Solutions and Services, but you also have Platform Slim, which is innovative marketing strategies. Audience, I hope you're paying attention.
I appreciate y'all for listening.
Share and comment, meaning say what you want, but watch your mouth.
Let's talk business. Making money online. Online marketing. Finances.
Now watch this. Hello to all. I am Isabel, the voice of Influenced by Content. This is Kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope is a different way to do business. It's a health system brought to you by the creators of Influenced by Content. Kaleidoscope is intended to simplify all business relations between service providers, those who sell products and items, and consumers.
For more about how Kaleidoscope works, go to Influenced by Content on Facebook.
Kaleidoscope is a different way to do business. Kaleidoscope. Hello to all. I am Isabel, the voice of Influenced by Content, and this is Platform Slim. Platform Slim is a new way to know and find out, brought to you by the creators of Influenced by Content. Platform Slim is an innovative marketing, advertisement, and promotion help system that informs a world of people, places, and things about services, businesses, entrepreneurs, content, products, items, and solutions, online and in person.
Welcome back. You know, I am really excited to see what Influenced by Content does next. I mean, not only just that, but I hope that Influenced by Content changes how things go online and in person. Because lots of people, places, and things, to coin your statement, have no point. The purpose gets lost, and it just becomes about attention, views, gossip, and drama.
You know, the act of caring enough to take serious, being orderly in a healthy, also lawful, agreeable manner is a tall task. Influenced by Content seeks to be a front runner of positive change.
This is really for a world of people, places, and things.
Let me just say something real quick. The issue with trying to get everybody to live in a lawful, healthy, agreeable manner is that it's filled with complexities, based on the fact that there are so many taught and learned, so many made up sayings and things that people in different demographics, cultures, understandings, upbringings live by that taint the mind so that clarity and love aren't effective in the world we share and coexist in. My apologies.
No
I
problem.
was just moving my chair. I may have been just a little heavy on the mic just now.
We're still very interested in what you have to say. Continue.
There's a thin line these days, I believe, most conscious folks realize. There's a thin line these days between leading and misleading. Folks do anything, as you mentioned, you framed it as attention, but if I narrow it down even further, they do anything for clicks, likes, follows, and subscribes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy how addictive these things are for those who are giving their attention to all things online. It seems as though online and even in person, some but not all have the desire to be indifferent and criticize things void of facts and understanding of what's really going on. They're not trained or disciplined on how to express things in an opinionated way without it becoming slander or defamation.
Right, because just like you said, it becomes only about the addiction of the clicks, the likes, the subscribes. So they're not really interested in truth or the facts. It just becomes about the addiction.
Absolutely. But listen, it seems some, but not all, desire to cause an audience to like them in the moment based on the jaded narratives and viewpoints they speak about people, places, and things. I would consider the long-term effects of this way of being and move to an educated, healthier way of expressing thoughts if I was anybody like that's caught in this dark space of online usage. I caution all who do this, okay, to be mindful that you may be talking yourself into things that you can't talk your way out of.
I agree. And so for those that may be sharing from that dark space online, the immediate gratification of the clicks, likes, shares, and subscribes may only be on their mind, meaning that ironically, mindfulness is not on their mind.
I am so glad you understand, and I hope our world of listeners and our audience understands also.
That leads us right into my next question. What does mindfulness have to do with influence by content? And you'll be able to give us your answer on the other side of this commercial break.
Now watch this.
If everything is something that's programmed, influenced, taught, and learned,
Criticize the idea,
not the person.
not the person.
Yeah. We have to be responsible and accountable for what we think, say, and do. And I think people try to relate void of that thinking.
Definitely.
The desire to justify, leverage, and qualify avoids accountability and responsibility at times when we're discussing things in an opinionated way. It can't just be haphazardly spewing words or thoughts. You have to have some realistic approach to practical application and discipline, growing and evolving expression. And as we do it on platforms for audiences, national and international, there's a responsibility and accountability that comes with that privilege.
Absolutely.
What if I said this?
A real gas production.
Welcome back.
Hold on, let me make sure I got myself properly seated before I say this next thing. Okay, all
Yes.
right. That's good?
You good?
Yeah?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Hold tight. So, to go back to the mindful concept that we were just talking about, that sounds like something all of us, in person, online, that we all could use to relate. So, let me ask you this. Now that you've said all of that, in our reality and shared time, space, and existence, is it fair to say that it's normal for many, some but not all, to assume, even perceive to know what's going on? I mean, from pretending to understand while actually expressing in an opinionated euphoria of ignorance, as it concerns varying things, not this, not that, but in general, and specifically in a world of people, places, and things.
Let me say, I think it's very possible that many, lost without a clue, make up things and speak in a headspace of false notions of understanding, expressing what they contrive in their imaginary smarts.
Yes, some of the express imaginary smarts are very vivid. But we can all think of people we know that express and have no clue as to what they're talking about. And that can be attributed to them wanting attention, wanting to be relevant, and on many other things, which may or may not be similar in some shape, form, or fashion.
Okay, let me say this. It's very probable that many, some, but not all, online and in person, are relating in ignorance and or with some sort of empirical knowledge, wisdom, and understanding in the conundrum of paradoxical issues found in the indifference of a diverse world of thinkers and expressors, right? Some thinkers and expressors are either by nature leaning in thought towards being more extreme in expressing in a reductive or anti-reductionism headspace, okay? And this is just thinking, right? Some, many, but not all, are reductive thinkers and expressors, meaning they consider all parts of a whole and simplify things based on how the interconnected varying parts affect the whole when considering solutions or problems, and are objective thinkers and expressors
like
most
the
of
bigger
the time,
picture thinker,
right?
yes.
Maybe not all of the time, some of the time, but the majority of the time, more than likely, probably, right? While many, some, but not all, may be anti-reductionism thinkers and expressors, meaning they focus on each detailed part of a whole and evaluate things based on isolating each individual part of a variable of an interconnected whole, okay? When considering solutions and or problems, they're subjective thinkers and expressors, right? By nature. Now, most of the time, maybe not all of the time, but sometimes or probably, that's most likely that this is how they arrive at things when they think them through.
Okay, I see you vocabulary words. Let's talk about these two different ways of thinking and expressing. So, do you think that they're knowingly used to argue points to be right only? Or is there a healthy way to utilize these two different ways of thinking and expressing for something other than proving others wrong?
So the creators of Influenced by Content and all things internally connected, such as but not limited to Kaleidoscope Consultants, Solutions and Services, assessed this dilemma and concluded that both the reductive or objective and the anti-reductionism or subjective is necessary for clarity.
Yes.
That's the only way to find universal holistic ideas and thoughts that can be established to succeed in today's world and tomorrow's existence.
I agree. So, what about those who have the knowledge and understanding? Where is the accountability and responsibility for what they are knowingly saying and doing? And you'll be able to give us your answer on the other side of this commercial break.
Now watch this. Most people are small talk, or all talk. Please don't laugh, that first line is probably talking about you. If everything in life comes from a thought and you think everybody's lying, if you have trust issues, is the one who can't be trusted really you? Filled with ignorance, you try to tell them everything about this, and they say that about that, but hearsay doesn't really matter to facts. Unless of course the facts don't really matter, the cost of confusion is expensive, gossip and rumors will leave you lost and wrong, saying and doing things you can't take back.
Welcome back. So, what about those who have the knowledge and understanding? Where is the accountability and responsibility for what they are knowingly saying?
I think that's a thought that you hear frequently asked in varying ways in different platforms and spaces and social dynamics. It's possible that some, but not all, who are clever, creative, and knowledgeable abuse the power of expression by spewing mind-gripping narratives unfounded in some instances and misleading in other instances, right? It may seem almost as if the intent is to subdue an audience, leaving them mentally transfixed and living spellbound, so it's more or less impossible not to succumb to the desire to absorb and be engrossed in the invention of their shared ideas. That's something that people perceive, right?
Yes, their perception. Right.
The false ideas that some share and spread seem to be functionally tailor-fit for the audience to have a feel of being reasonable and real, just so what's said and done appears cohesive with the multiverse of angular realities we all coexist and relate in, blurring the possibilities of understanding and knowing what is or what isn't.
We're listening. Tell us more.
Most, but not all, exist in a state of ignorance, absent and void of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding.
All right.
If eliminating, limiting, and removing the suffering and struggling that some experience in a place of micro-educational, social, informational, and intellectual aptitude is a real thing, equality as it applies to opportunities, also possibilities, has to be something that those who want it and those who control things must come to terms and act on.
Yes, I wholeheartely agree. So, okay, here is where I am in thought now. So for us, the people, what can we hope for if we don't have a seat at the table of say-so?
Objectively speaking, the thinking is no one without a seat at the table of say-so can hold those at the table of say-so responsible and accountable for anything said and or done. Those at the table have a world of people, places, and things to consider and manage. So being mindful and contemplating what is truly obtainable may be the best way to approach things moving forward.
Wow. Yeah, the concept of equality and it being a real thing. Listen, you have my attention. And I gather to say that you have the attention of the listeners. So please, now that our interest has been piqued, once more, tell us how, in today's world, equality can be a real thing.
So, and this is just thinking out loud, not trying to make a statement of any sort, one way or another, but the thinking is that a real possibility for growth and opportunities would simply translate into being a today's world form of universal equality, right? Mostly due to the shift in what is defined as work or jobs transforming from in-person functionality mostly to an online and or in-person optional thing. For equality to be successful, it must be done in a compartmentalized thinking, which will allow anyone in any monetary or financial status level to continue to grow and gain more as they strive and work for more and better. Those in control may consider setting mutually beneficial and reasonable standards that all will agree on and follow online and in person to cultivate today's world's equality that rewards those who strive and work for more and better as it applies to all things business and personal.
I really like what you said about true success of equality. So take this think journey with me for a second. If we could fathom or imagine, right, living in a world where it's true that success is possible for all, it would be based on their ability to perform, their discipline level, their level of focus, their level of responsibility, and wait a minute, and also accountability. All of this would have to take place while also eliminating the abuse of power and the abuse of privilege. In light of all of that, our world wouldn't just be different. It could really be a better place.
The hope would be that we will become one world, living, thriving, mutually beneficial, and universally productive in every culture, at every status level, and in all aspects of life. I mean, I think that's what the natural, humane hope would be for our world of people, places, and things.
I would like to offer something to consider. Maybe it's the thinking in this shared existence, in the participation in some way, shape, form, or fashion, in the culture of like and dislike, or the ever evolving gifts of all things internet. So many, some, if not all, who are engulfed and submerged and following and being followed, and also subscribing and being subscribed to for a plethora of different reasons. They are actively engaged in the want to be addictively mesmerizing and riveting to all the viewers and all the listeners, so that a world of people, places, and things are endlessly enthralled.
I like that. I like what you're saying. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Continue.
In implementing parameters that force the intent purposefully for the lawful usage of the beautiful and wonderful gifts of all things internet. Now, let's not act without a vision, blindly or with thinking and viewpoints that are tainted with lies and confusion. We should consider all things valuable, especially ourselves and others in the world we share and coexist in. We must all accept the role we play in the destructive behaviors as it applies to all things business and personal. Individually and as a community, we have to acknowledge our failed accountability and responsibility as an audience of active online users and social creatures who are damaged by our self-imposed sharing and recycling of filthy content, so to speak, rinsing and repeating mindlessly. First, let me say that we have been privileged today to have been the ones that you have shared this knowledge and information with.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciated my time, and thank you all for listening.
And so I just want to sum things up for the listeners as we close. And so I would sum things up by saying, influenced by content is designed to be universally unique, online and in person. And so that means that it is intended to be purposely profitable and a healthy trendsetter of a fusion of ideas and understandings that are both innovative and traditional, that will induce betterment, stimulate positive change while cultivating all things good and evolving all things business and personal. When it comes to influence by content and all things connected, such as but not limited to Kaleidoscope Consultants Solutions and Services, they may provide universal answers that are beneficial and profitable to all. Believing in a today's world equality, which means a lawful standard and productive healthy outline of accountability and responsibility. This will allow for the possibility of growth for all and minimize the abuse of power and the abuse of privilege. Now, that would be ideal. I'd like to thank our guest today for sharing briefly about influence by content. I say briefly, but I know that there is more than we actually have time for on the show. So in the description, you can find the social media page links for Influence by Content. There you will find the information to connect to get your innovative marketing strategies by Platform Slim. There you will also find out how to connect to get to the wonderful Better Business Cultivator Kaleidoscope Consultants Solutions and Services. You will find out exactly what they are and how you can benefit as a seller of products and items, how you can benefit as a provider of services, and how you most definitely can benefit as a consumer. Is there anything else that you want to share with us today?
I just want to say this before I go. If you don't know, be honest with yourself. Don't think, say, and do things trying to fit in and follow. The only way to do better is to know better. Seek to learn and grow. Like I said, I may be biased, but reach out to Kaleidoscope Consultants Solutions and Services, and they can help you to assess and plan out and even prep for solving your problems, finding your solutions, going in the direction you're looking, whether it's occupational, educational, economic, financial, business, even your leisure activities, your habit sets, your physical self, your mental self. So I think that, I don't know about you, but I want to be the best of the best. And we all need help systems, and we need support systems to help navigate those things. And sometimes the limitation of those we know keeps us limited to what they are capable of. So maybe you need to go outside of your social circle and outside of yourself to find what you're actually looking for, wanting, and needing.
So, with that being said today, I choose to love myself enough not to guess. I am ready for somebody qualified, proficient, and educated, connected to influence by content, namely Kaleidoscope Consultants Solutions and Services, to tell me,
what if I said this?
This is Influenced by Content.